Welcome to the Investor Empowerment Series radio show, empowering your real estate investing with techniques, opportunities, and information, minus the BS and sales pitches. Now, please welcome the host of the Investor Empowerment Series, Joe Mueller, from the Tough as Nails Investment Syndicate, Joe Mueller.
Hello, gang. Welcome back to the Investor Empowerment Series radio show, episode number 57. The deal of the day, and working with your local city to help you make some money. So today I want to talk about a wholesale deal that I've got to offer for you guys that is just going to be hitting the market, off market I should say, for our investor database, essentially the day this podcast gets released. We have a property in the Elgin area. Well, not in the area, in Elgin, Illinois. So for those of you who do not buy in Illinois or the suburbs of Chicago, don't tune me out yet, because there's an interesting tidbit that I think you need to investigate at your own local community to see if you have the same type of opportunities that we do in this particular city. So what we've got is a property in Elgin that's currently a 2-unit or a 2-flat type property. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath for each unit. It also has a 2-car garage detached in the rear of the property, but it only has a 1-car door. So if you copy that correctly, that means just a single car garage door, but it's the size of a 2-car garage. It's actually a 2-story garage, which is crazy to me. It's huge. It's perfect for some type of maybe home-based business or storing, landscaping material or whatever you want to do with it. But let's talk more about this property. It's set back off the road by about 50 or 60 feet. It's on a little bit of a busier street, but nothing that's too crazy. It's like 25 miles an hour. Just a main cut through a main drag through town that people use as a cut through. I would call it this part of town where this property is actually, it's less densely populated with traffic as opposed to like near the downtown Elgin area. So we're selling this property as a wholesale deal for $55,000. If you kept it as a 2-flat, you would essentially have an ARV on it after repairs of somewhere around 135 to 145 is what our initial estimates are. Sounds good on the front side, but in reality this place needs a ton of work. Probably between $60,000 to $70,000. A lot of money needs to go into it. It basically needs everything from the bottom up. When you pull up to the property on the exterior, it actually looks really nice. Somebody took some time to paint it. This is an old home. It's like a Victorian style, so it's got all the ornate finishes on the exterior and paint colors. So the front of the house is actually nicely painted. When you walk around to the back, it's a train wreck. It needs some siding replaced in the back. There's some holes in the roof. It needs a new roof, obviously. It's probably going to need new windows throughout, new plumbing, new electrical. Currently, it has one huge old-style octopus furnace, which is like the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, and I'm not even kidding. That needs to be torn out, and if it's going to be kept as a 2-unit, you'd have to have 2 furnaces going in there if you wanted to maximize your profitability as a rental property, right? Separating utilities and such. Currently, like I said, set up and previously utilized as a 2-unit, this property's been vacant for somewhere around 6 years. Very strange. You don't find many of those, at least in our area, where they've been sitting that long dormant with no one doing anything with them. That said, if you do your math and you buy this property at $55,000 plus closing costs, you'd probably be in it for $57,000, $58,000 or so, and then you got to put, let's go on the high side, you got to put $70,000 worth of work into it. Quick math tells me, with my calculator, just to make sure I'm right, $58,000 plus $70,000 equals $128,000. And what I tell you the ARV was, maybe $135,000 to $145,000. in reality, when you rehab something to that extent, you're probably going to be able to push at least another 10% on top of it, if not more. So the house could be worth $150, but we won't even go there. I think where the real opportunity here is, which is the first time I've ever found something that I thought this made sense on, is to deconvert it to a single family. Because as a single family, the ARV is probably about 170 to 175 with just deconverting it back to a 1-unit property instead of having it as a 2-unit. So that changes things a little bit. Now it still needs a lot of work, but you don't need 2 furnaces anymore. You don't need 2 kitchens anymore. That can reduce your cost as a single family maybe down to that 55 or 50 to 60 type range. So with that pricing, $58,000 plus, we'll call it 60, puts us at $118 for an all-in cost. That's with $60,000 in rehab costs. Now again, ARV on this thing we'll call 170 just for the sake of discussion. So that leaves approximately, that's a $50,000 spread there, not including buyer closing costs and commission. So, call it 30, 35,000, again, I'm being conservative. So there's some money to be made there. Now, for those of you who stayed tuned in with me that want to hear about working with your local municipality, this is another opportunity to make some money on this property and maximize your profit even more. The city of Elgin offers a deconversion grant for $25,000 to deconvert a 2-unit back to a single family house. Now I did some research on this, and by research I mean utilize their website. You have a few stipulations that you have to meet in order to get the grant. One of them is it has to be a registered rental property in the city of Elgin, which, that's how they get their annual fees, right? Everyone knows what those are. A lot of people are fighting those nowadays, even some larger. I just read it the other day. There's a large group out of Illinois, the Lake County Property Investors Association, run by Bill Powers. They are in the middle of a lawsuit with the city of Zion in order to prevent them from instituting these rental fees, these rental licensing fees, based on however the covenants of that municipality was formed. Apparently they can't do it there. Kind of interesting stuff. But Elgin does it. So you have to register it as a rental property, which you could do as soon as it's purchased, and that meets that requirement as far as I understand it. And then you would be able to apply for this grant. You do not have to be an owner-occupant. It is open for investors. But as one of the stipulations of the grant, the money that's available for the grant goes to owner-occupants before it'll go to investors. So they essentially give preference to owner-occupants. Knowing that community, I'm sure there are some people that are aware of this grant. I'm sure there's an even less amount of people that are going to utilize it for owner-occupying it. And when I say that, I can't imagine they issue more than a dozen of these a year. But that said, that would all be on the buyer to complete due diligence on, make sure what I'm telling you is accurate, or double check what I'm telling you, or verify, do your due diligence, because I'm not 100% certain of the process. I've never personally applied for a deconversion grant to make that property a 2-unit into a 1-unit. And I know a lot of people are thinking to themselves right now, like, whoa. It's a 2-unit. Why wouldn't I just keep it as a rental? Well, I think we already explained that answer, because the real way to make money on this is to deconvert it to a single family, sell it for $170,000, and effectively get a $25,000 check from the city in order to deconvert it back to a single family house. So at a $55,000 purchase price, knock your 25 off that on paper, in the virtual world, in the cloud, because it's going to come to you at some point, and you're really paying, though you're paying $55,000 up front, it's essentially paying $30,000 for this property. This is an off-market opportunity. It's going to be a cash deal only, no financing. This property is in bad shape. It needs a lot of work. As a matter of fact, Rocky Raccoon is living in the back porch right now. Last time I was there, he was sleeping up there, up in the ceiling joists, and I was very tempted to poke the bear with a stick, but I decided not to. It wasn't the best idea, especially wearing my shorts and sandals running through there real quick. That said, If you're interested in this property, like I said, cash only purchase. There's a decent spread on it. Needs a ton of work, but I think as a single family, it's actually a great property. It's on a big lot, really long setback off the road, very big, a massive backyard. I don't know the dimensions offhand, but I mean, it's like 100-foot depth of backyard beyond the house. So it's a really large lot. I'm really excited about this one because I think it's going to make a great rehab opportunity for somebody. I am not taking out there. Here's the question I get from you guys all the time. Well, why aren't you doing it? Well, because. It's not because I don't want to do the work. It's not because I'm incapable. It's just that the way I run my business, and when certain buckets are better, certain properties are better to put in different buckets for wholesaling or rehabbing or fix and flipping or fix and renting. So on this particular one, to me, because the way the transaction is structured, it makes more sense just to wholesale it off to somebody else and let them take the opportunity, and we make a little money in the middle. To be all honest, the clock there. All right, so to be honest, there's only a small spread being made on my side. This is a great opportunity for somebody. If you're interested in viewing the property, I can get you in it. I'm not going to give out the address on the podcast because I don't want people just going over there. You need to contact me directly. You can do that via email, which is joe@tanisgroupllc.com, joe@TANIS, Tanis, Group, LLC.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Shoot me a message. If you're interested in the deal, if you have questions, I'm available to answer them. We're hoping to get this thing closed in the next couple weeks. If it does not close with one of you guys, an investor buyer, a wholesaler, we'll call it a wholesale deal through me, then I'm actually going to close on it and probably wholesale it, which we've talked about in previous podcasts. But by wholetailing, we would be essentially throwing it on the MLS after we purchase it. When I say we, this deal is a Dan Clarton and Joe Mueller deal. We also have a third component to our business now, which is Cheryl. So if she's listening, hi Cheryl. So we're all three of us are working on this deal together. This was brought to me by another wholesaler. It's an interesting dynamic. There's a lot of people involved in this one, but it's going to make money, and it's going to make some family very happy someday after it's rehabbed. It's going to be a beautiful property. I have the vision. I could see it. So again, get a hold of me if you're interested. joe@tanisgroupllc.com. I think this is a great deal. I think this is a good way to make $50,000 on a flip. It's perfect timing, buying into the winter and getting it on the spring market. Great time. Well, not winter. I realize it's August right now, but you close on it in September. You've got till March essentially till the spring market starts to heat back up again. That gives you 5 months, which is plenty of time to get it done, depending on the speed you work at. So, thanks again for listening. Please rate me on iTunes. Please rate me on Stitcher. Please rate me on anything. Watch this on YouTube. The more the merrier. That's what helps me out. And I will talk to y'all soon. This is the Investor Empowerment Series radio show, episode number 57, the deal of the day and working with your local municipalities. See you later.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Investor Empowerment Series radio show. Be sure to tune in next week for another empowering episode. We welcome your feedback, so please rate us on iTunes and Stitcher, and visit us at www.investoремpowermentchicago.com or tanisgrouprealty.com.